Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this exciting session hosted by Women Techmakers Sri Lanka chapter and Ethiopia. We are thrilled to have you all join us tonight as we dive into the world of AI marketing and innovation. So, to kick things off, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our first speaker, Rizvi from Sri Lanka. She's the founder of Soap Stories, a unique brand that blends Ayurvedic principles with modern cosmetic technology. She's also a certified Ayurvedic beauty product manufacturer, currently studying cosmetic technology at the University of Sri Jayewardenepura and also reading for BSc Honors in Psychology. Her entrepreneurial journey has already earned her recognition as the second runner up at JSCA Sri Lanka, and today she'll be sharing her insights on lean marketing with AI, showing how AI can transform marketing strategies and help businesses grow smarter. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Rishma Rizvi. Over to you, Rishma.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. Could I please know if my video, if I'm audible and video is visible to everyone?
The video is not visible to me, but the audio is all good.
All right, please give me a second to check that.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. All right. Let me share my screen and I will get started. Is my screen sharing visible to everyone? Could I please know if my presentation is visible to
Yeah,
everyone?
yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Rishma Rizvi, and I'm the founder of Soap Stories. Firstly, I'd like to thank Women Tech Makers Sri Lanka chapter for inviting me to talk about lean marketing with AI to all of you, and it's a pleasure to be here today. So just to introduce myself a little bit before I go into today's topic. I'm the founder of Soap Stories. Soap Stories is an artisan Ayurvedic skincare brand I founded back in 2018 when I was just 15 years old. So I've been running my business for the past 7 years. We've branched into Maldives so far, and now we're looking into branching out to other areas globally as well. So I have, just to give an idea, I have basically grown myself with when it comes to the aspect of marketing, from doing traditional marketing concepts to finding alternatives that can actually make my work more efficient, because I don't have a team working with me for my brand. It's just myself, and then I have my mom who also assists me in running the business. And because this is a business that includes formulating products and getting them tested, as well as getting product photos done, and making sure that your customers are actually drawn to trying out your products. I've come a long way with testing out different concepts that actually work for my brand, and I'll be sharing some of that with you. If there's any questions that you'd like to ask me, feel free to unmute and stop me and ask away your questions. But for now, to start off with today's session, which is lean marketing with AI. So, just to kind of give you a little bit of insight, as I will be relating this topic a little bit with my brand, so that there is a personal touch. And for those of you who are here today, who have an idea of starting a business but isn't sure, or if you have a small business that you are running so far, the insights that I have to share, or like the examples and my personal journey, would definitely help you. So when you take my brand Soap Stories, just as I mentioned previously, I formulate skincare products, from handmade soaps to um, other body products, foot soaks, lip balms, and so on. Just the whole skin and body care range, right? And what this involves is, where this basically involves us using a lot of Sri Lankan Ayurvedic herbals, and also merging the look and feel of international products. Because in Sri Lanka, what my idea was, in order to to bridge the gap and to meet the market, was to merge both the Western look of products while giving my consumers the benefit of our local Ayurvedic ingredients. So along the way, as I was growing with my business, AI was something that I didn't want to integrate into my brand, because what you often hear is people saying that integrating AI into your brand can, make it look like there's no organic. You're not marketing your products in an organic way, or you're losing touch with actually connecting with your consumers. While I used to be somebody who believed that, at the start of my journey, as I've come along and researched, and I have understood different trends and understood the competition between brands that work in a similar field as mine, I've realized that AI has so much to offer, especially for somebody who doesn't have a big team and who is working with a specific financial, a limit. And I will show that to you within my slides. So just to kind of break the first layer off, let's just look at what lean marketing is. So for me, lean marketing is, in three simple terms, if I was to tell you, is using smart, efficient, and cost-effective, tools to market your products. Now, what we've seen over the years is that you come across brands actually using different concepts to market their products. This is in ways of creating advertisements, or taking like 6 months to build a whole setup just for a 30-second shoot. And what we know is that all of this consumes a lot of time. But the difference with lean marketing is that we make it efficient. We make it's basically data driven, right? And you get your results then and there. It's a sort of it's a tool that will basically help you test out your concept even before you want to scale big. And the benefit of this is that it's there to assist you 24/7, regardless of whether you have a team or not, right? So in simple terms, like lean marketing is basically marketing in a smart, efficient, and productive way, a way that is productive for your brand's growth, for your time, and even for your skills. Now, when we just look at the concept of traditional marketing and lean marketing, obviously we know traditional marketing costs severely. And I know, just like myself, there's so many of you here today who are also small business owners and don't want to spend a heavy amount on creating advertisements, especially because you're not sure how they're actually going to pan out once you've put it out to your consumer base, right? Because what happens with traditional marketing nowadays is that you like it's quite uncertain. You might figure out your target market, right? For example, if you take Soap Stories, a product which is like our acne bar. If my target market is for individuals between the ages of 18 to 25, if I am to use traditional marketing as a tool to promote that product, I'm not like along the way, as I promote that product, either using like TV promotions or newspaper articles and so on, I'm not going to get the full data from the marketing that I actually worked on. What I mean by this is that you spend so much money on using these traditional concepts to kind of get a slow data draft back. Now, when you take lean marketing, it obviously is less cost effective, because you have to do is you have to like pay for tools like ChatGPT, Mid Journey AI, which is a Mac, and like a maximum of like $30 to $40 a year. Whereas when you actually invest money in traditional marketing methods, right, you have to spend about $500 just for one particular advertisement, and the result is you're not often you're not sure of how exactly this is going to pan out, or how your consumer base is going to absorb your marketing. Sometimes this could fail heavily, sometimes it could progress quite well, actually making your brand thrive. But the uncertainty with the traditional marketing is a big burden for small businesses to bear, which is why lean marketing is so advantageous. Because with time, the thing you can do is like you spend a minimum of, say you don't even want to spend $40 a year for chat gpt pro, for example. You could use the free version of chat gpt for a month to generate content for your page, for example, or generate ideas that could actually create traction and revenue for your brand. And using the input chat gpt has to offer to you, you'll basically be able to get an idea of the success rate, or how well this marketing how well your idea is going to thrive amongst your consumers. And what happens most of the time with traditional marketing is that when you have a specific target market, for example, say 18 to 25, most of the time people are like, the brand owners are not sure of whether it actually reached the target market, the 18 to 25 target market. But when you take AI and the tools AI has to offer and the advantages AI has to offer, you have the ability to instantly understand which target market did you capture, which market did you capture from, say, a post that you made, or a post that you created targeting for the ages 18 to 25. And today AI has developed to an extent where you have search insights, or you have your analytics that show you whether you've actually reached that target market. And all of this can be even done free of charge without having to spend tons and tons on just one advertisement. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages when it comes to lean marketing. And because there are so many trends and there's so much of new ideas popping up every single day amongst brands that are similar to mine, amongst brands, amongst your competitors, it is essential that you kind of keep up with those trends and keep up with your competitors, see if they are two steps ahead of you. And that's where lean marketing also comes handy, because you are able to kind of visualize how exactly you want your brand to thrive without having to spend a big buck on it. And again, when you take AI, obviously AI is very quick to adapt to different trends and nuances, right? Whereas when you take traditional marketing tactics, which is like, for example, let's take a TV advertisement, it's often slow to adjust. It's not all customers are going to understand the concept of it, and especially in a day and age where everything's driven by social media, where everything's driven by user generated content. People often won't resonate as much with traditional marketing concepts. Obviously, there are brands today that still work on traditional concepts. Like, for example, in Sri Lanka, if you take a particular, you take a brand, for example, Spa Salon, which is one of the leading skincare brands here. They focus a lot on traditional marketing, which is using all of these pop-up stalls and these pop-up events to capture their customers. While that is great, it is what we have to understand is that it is possible for brands that are running at a large scale like that to actually invest in traditional marketing tactics and kind of bear that uncertainty if that doesn't work well. But when it comes to small businesses like us, that's often not going to be the case. And the thing is, with lean marketing, because it is highly data driven, you are able to adjust your concepts, or you're able to adjust the route that your brand is supposed to take in an instant. You could post one reel on Instagram. In 24 hours, you're going to get your insights on who it reached, the sort of audience that actually engaged, who you were supposed to engage with, and the sort of feedback you received. And from that, you're able to understand whether that product of yours is actually going to thrive in the market, or whether that product of yours has to be changed in, or it has to be a bit more innovative in order to actually capture your customers attention. And I think all of those that is possible with lean marketing, and that is why it's so advantageous. Now, when we look at lean marketing, I would say the ideal cycle, or the perfect cycle for marketing with AI, is you are able to leverage your brand with less effort. And what I mean by this is you can start with building small. Now, what I mean by this is you can take minute concepts. Say you have this big vision of creating this sort of launch, and you want to make sure that before you do a launch like this for a particular product of yours, or for this business of yours, whether people or whether your consumers are actually going to engage with that launch or that product. And that is where you can build smaller concepts using AI. You can test it at a quick pace, and understand the analytics from that and improve those along the way. While when it comes to like traditional marketing tactics, or like organic marketing, while it also captures your consumers attention, while it obviously has a human aspect to it, in today's day and age, lean marketing has a very interesting way of grabbing everyone's attention, because we are on our phones so often. We are actually kind of getting adapted to even bigger brands using AI and integrating it into our daily lifestyle. Now, for me, when I was starting my brand at just 15, as I mentioned earlier, I had no knowledge of AI or the concepts of it or the target market and so on. But, and which is why I had to like invest a lot of time, energy in planning how to do product photography, for example. Because when you take AI can be branched into content creation, it can be branched into customer service, it can be branched into multiple areas, because AI is not only creating content. You can use AI to capture your to be there as an assistant to reach your customers anytime they are not you're not available. You can have AI tools like WhatsApp chatbots to reach your customers and respond to your customers requirements even when you're not there. But today I'm specifically focusing a little bit on content creation, because I feel like there's a lot of tightness around content creation in regards to AI, because people think it's not authentic. AI can morph the look of your products, and AI is not very realistic when it comes to creating product images and so on. But I just want to say, before AI, even when I started, for me, content creation was a tough thing to work on, because I had to invest a lot of time, and I had to focus on taking product photos that actually evoke an emotion, that actually would capture my consumers' attention. And that was quite a task, because if there's a picture that I don't really like, I have to keep taking it in order to make sure I've got the perfect angle. And while you work on all of that, majority of your time is gone. And specifically when you are working on your own, it's quite hard to do so. So here's a few examples of what my product photos look like before I integrated AI. And all of these took a lot of planning. These are all soaps, and each of them I had to evoke a sort of story, a sort of sensation. And to get one of to plan this whole thing, I would normally take around 6 hours or so. But when I started integrating AI into my brand, I cut down on the time I spent into creating product photos. I cut down, planning for months on how I wanted a particular launch to go on. And I think this also, using AI into creating my content for my brand helped me significantly when I started. Expanding my brand out of Sri Lanka. And I just a couple of months ago, I launched Soap Stories in the Maldives. But again, my team in Maldives is also a very singular team. Therefore, I couldn't constantly rely on them to take photos or product photos and create marketing content on a budget without breaking my bank in the Maldives. So what I did was I used my products to create photos that evoke, that sensation of my brand being launched abroad. For example, if you look at the screen right now, I have my Kokumba, which is an AI generated image. I mean, my soap looks exactly the same, but the background, the effect, all of that was AI generated to give my Maldivian consumers the idea that we've launched this product in the Maldives. Now, I didn't have to spend a penny to create that image. All I had to use was my free ChatGPT toolbox, and then put in a prompt that worked according to what I wanted it to generate. So for me, was a sea theme with shells, and uh, for it to maintain the exact look of my product while also giving this effect of like, oh, I've actually taken this picture in person. But nobody could really tell because of how I integrated AI into the image, right? And you can see, for example, the Anitoba. I didn't have time to do a product shoot for this, but I had to launch that bar, and because this bar is great for glowy skin, and because I was having a busy schedule, I put a picture of my bar onto ChatGPT, put a prompt of how I wanted it to, look. For example, I gave an idea of like, oh, I need it for glowy skin. It has these particular ingredients, and it generated this image. And then again, I also use different AI techniques. For example, the middle picture you see, to create customer reviews, because customer reviews are something that also acts as a leverage into growing your business. And AI has come into handy because using your reviews and using the content creation aspect of AI and merging them both together has significantly improved my brand, because you're able to create eye-catching reviews that your consumers would be like, okay, hold on, let me sit and read this, because it's creative, it's nice, it has like an emotional connection. Now, this is one way you can use AI into content creation. Obviously, I obviously do use organic marketing as well into my business, but we'll come to that a little later. As for now, when it comes to product pictures and content creation, what I don't see a lot of small businesses doing is using AI for content creation. Because see, it's quite hard to get a whole marketing team to take your photos, and when you have to pay a big sum to those teams while also maintaining a profit from the product you're selling. So something I encourage all of you, small business owners, or if there's any one of you who is an aspiring business owner, who has an idea of starting their business, start practicing working around with your AI tools, and working around different prompts to kind of get the hang of it, to kind of understand how you can get AI to work in your favor in an ethical way while maintaining the look and feel of your product, but also doing it in a system that takes less time, that is less cost effective, and also grab your customers' attention. Now, this is what my creation process looks like. Now, just because I use AI with my to create content for my brand. It does not mean that it's always going to be easy. Obviously, I've had times where it's been difficult. Sometimes, when I want to hop on particular trends and I use AI for that, they don't quite turn out the way I expect it to. And sometimes you have to scrap all of those ideas. Now, this is one of the sort of ideas I've had to create this particular product photo. If you see in the first image, which is the pink color oven, my idea was to create a prompt and create an to get AI to generate an image which has my soaps, baking inside an oven. But with the way I put my prompt, and the picture AI generated for me was something that you see on the right hand side. Now, this is not even close to the sort of idea or the vision I had in my head, and I had to scrap it. So it takes a little bit of working around. Obviously, you're going to have a few failed outcomes, but what's the advantage is that those failed outcomes cost you nothing other than a little bit of time, other than a little bit of work and effort into typing out your prompts. And especially if you're using the free version of chat gpt, the least that will affect you is that you have only a certain amount of prompts that you can process in a day. So you can start, you'll have to, if you run out of prompts, you'll have to probably start the next day. But those are the sort of losses you're going to have in terms of failed outcomes for using AI into your business. But the advantage is that to even generate a picture like this, if you use traditional methods, which is like getting a designer to create your product, create a post for you, where you have to pay but you don't end up liking it, is going to be a waste. And typically that's how it happens. When you get your creative director to design a post, you pay them to get that done, but you might not like the outcome, but you have to still pay them for the service they provided. But when you look at AI, you can do it for free and with a less amount of time, just that it requires a little bit of tweaking here and there. And like I always say, it just takes a specific prompt, right? Like, for example, in this particular slide, if you see, there's a prompt in the first image that I have added, which is a Louis Vuitton prompt. It's a campaign done by Louis Vuitton to promote one of their signature bags. And all I did was use that prompt to generate my images. Now, obviously, not, there are times when I use ChatGPT to generate an image, and in the first try I get the perfect image. But sometimes, I have to keep working and tweaking around, and that is the beauty of it, because you can see how that's the process of, like, you can see how your idea is developed along the way without it affecting you in any way. And along the way, even using AI to generate content for you, you will realize if that product is actually even feasible in the market. With the images AI can generate for you, you kind of see, okay, will this actually thrive, will this not? You are able to kind of develop an insight on your own as well. And for example, if you see, the first time I tried the prompt, the picture wasn't quite great. It looked very fake. It looked very artificial. The second time I tried it, it made my soap look really chunky. The third time I tried it, it looked perfect, but the helicopter had a few issues and my brand name was spelled wrong. While the third time, it was somewhat okay, but I wasn't the most happiest. So, it takes a little bit trial and error, but in the end, you can always have it working for you without any cost. Now, some of the tools, what I've seen is a lot of small businesses don't really know the tools that they're supposed to use when it comes for AI and creating content using AI. So when you take ChatGPT and Midjourney, they're one of the greatest platforms for you to generate images, like I showed previously, where you can put in specific prompts. Now, how do you find these prompts? Because when you take AI, you have to be a little specific, right? That's the only downside. You can't just go and type in whatever you want, be it using it for marketing, creating videos, or even if you're having like an AI chatbot, right, for your consumers to respond to. You have to be very specific on what those responses are. What you have to be, you have to feed your AI tools the necessary information, which will take a little bit of time, but it's worth it in the end. So where I think for anyone starting up right now, I think the best place for you to get prompts is from Pinterest. There's enough and more. You just go to Pinterest, search in product photo prompts, what you can just do is you get a lot of product photo prompts, use those prompts, and integrate your product details to those prompts to generate your images. And a second thing is TikTok. TikTok has a lot of information to provide you on content creation and AI, because of the new policies on, like, analytics and user generated content. TikTok actually favors a lot of these AI images and AI tools, and therefore there's so many creators who actually show how to work with AI. All you have to do is you just go type in product images with AI, and I still use them for my brand, to generate content for my business, to kind of generate content to specific target markets as well. And the next big topic is, big brands if big brands can use AI, why not you? Because today AI campaigns have turned into many trends. What is stopping you? I think being a small business, taking use of your AI tools right now has to be the biggest advantage for you, to kind of understand your competitors, understand what sort of branding, or understand how your visions for your brand. And I think that's something all small businesses or even big brands should start exploring. Now, apart from ChatGPT, Midjourney, and so on, your social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, TikTok are also AI tools. What we think AI is normally is, oh, Chat GPT, you go type in a prompt to generate a caption, something like that. But your ultimate AI tool is also your social media accounts that you interact and use every single day. Take use of those platforms. For example, you know you can go and boost a video of yours for like $2, and that would reach a bigger community. And for example, you can see here, this is a recent TikTok video I just boosted for $2. That's all I had to spend to promote my video to a wider range of consumers. Now, that's something you don't get with traditional marketing. If you use an ad, sometimes your ad is only open to a certain area. But when you take tools like TikTok and Instagram, you can reach a bigger target market out of the particular area you're focusing on, while also paying only a minimum of like $2 for a video, but it reaching a greater consumer base. And for example, here you can see I've got like 50,000, 51,000 views. And from this, the amount of traction, the amount of sales I got doubled than my basic organic content, or just taking pictures and posting using the metrics that my social media platforms have to offer, understanding them, and understanding what my target market is, and using those analytics to actually tweak my posts and tweak my videos using the sort of incentives AI has to offer, has helped me generate sales beyond what I had like expected. So basically, the key takeaway from this whole presentation, I would say, is to start small, use AI, test it to your fullest. Even before you launch a brand, test it, see how you can work it for you, make it work for you, and obviously use it in a way that is ethical to your brand. Okay, obviously the reason that there is so much of hate in terms of using AI for brands is that sometimes the actual product does not look like the, for example, image that AI generated for your brand, which is why it's so important to be very specific in the prompts that you use to create content for your brand. Because when you say make this product look like this with this particular background, AI will generate that for you, but make sure you're very specific as to making it look exactly the same. And sometimes with the first prompt or the first try, your product is not going to look anything like what it is in real life, and that is where it takes a little bit of working, but with practice comes perfection. And I think there's no harm in taking a little while to figure how to use AI to your advantage, how to understand prompting for your advantage, to actually generate content, generate to reach customers beyond your normal scope. So all in all, I had to say is that, take use of your tools. There is, with today's developing, in today's day and age, you have so many trends, you have so many new ideas, and traditional marketing might not often help you keep up with those ideas. And step in and take use of your AI tools to leverage your brand, because trust me, with just a few dollars spent, you can leverage your brand significantly. So I hope that was helpful for all of you. And if there is any question, you can feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Miss, I do have a doubt.
Yes,
Yes. Like,
I think by
regarding,
the meeting we can
the
have a
meeting.
question and answer session, right? Because we do have a 50 minutes and the end of the session. So let's save the questions for end. Yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Is my voice audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. And thank you, Rishma, for such an incredible and insightful session on lean marketing with artificial intelligence. Next, we'll be going to Mastewal Hailemariam, who is a machine learning engineer at Safaricom Ethiopia and the co-founder of Know My Knowledge Generation. Know My Generation, sorry, and she will walk us through the topic where next gen AI meets startup energy. So please give a couple of applause for Mastewal. Mastewal, you can unmute yourself and take the stage.
Hello, ladies. Good evening. Thank you so much, both the Women Techmaker Ethiopia as well as Sri Lanka. I'm thrilled to be here to share experience with you guys and to share ideas and how to climb the ladder of the top women in the technology. And let me share my screen. Just give me a couple of seconds, and we're gonna continue the agenda.
Okay.
I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. So, to introduce myself and to just get to be familiar, my name is Mastewal Hailemariam, and I'm a machine learning engineer at Safaricom Ethiopia Telecommunication, as well as I lead the AI section and big data section in our company and lead a lot of initiatives that comes in this sector. And actually, AI and big data concept is like in the stage of boosting here in Ethiopia and especially in the telecommunication sector. So me and my team have built a lot of a lot of initiatives to embark on this next gen level of technologies. And apart from my professional side working in telecommunication company, I also a co-founder and a chairperson of a use actually an NGO organization that has been found by the youth like me, and it is called Know My Generation. It focuses on more of how to make the youth to be best version of themselves, and we leverage a lot of technology, and we teach, we share experiences, and we make a lot of mentorship stage so that the youth can leverage this opportunity to just grow themselves as well as to put themselves in the next step of their dream shoes. And coming to the agenda of where next gen AI meets startup energy, I know most of you are in the way of maybe launching a startup company, or you already started this journey, and some of us are in technology, and what is the common ground? And I wanted to start, when I say next gen, most people or some of us might think I'm talking about the latest gadget or the news app or the software update, but not that's not it. Like next gen is a new generation of thinking, a new generation of building, and a new generation of solving. And it is what happens when innovation is no longer held by access or by scale or any other traditions. And it's AI that learn our habit, and the AI that we find in many sector like health sector, military, space, agriculture. And it's not about the future, but it's about now. And talking about the next gen isn't just about a tool. It's more of the mindset beyond the current culture, and it's the curiosity over convention and speed over perfection. So whether you're coding or designing or investing or running a business, being a next gen means making or building with intention and leveraging the latest next gen technology for your intended business and for your outputs. And going to the next slide, we all know the story of David and Goliath. It's a famous story. And a young shepherd facing this a giant warrior with nothing but a sling and a few stone in his hands. And everyone thought David would lose because he's a very teeny tiny little boy. And but uh, the result was completely different. David won the giant warrior Goliath because he played a very different game. So in today's world, David is the startup companies, and Goliath is, the giant companies that we're afraid of competing ourselves with them. And the giants have, the power, their resources, and their everything. But in their disadvantage, they are tied down to their bureaucracies. I mean, can you imagine what kind of how much long would it take for a single initiative to just be communicated from the CEO level down to the specialist? They had to pass down all the leadership ladder, like the executives, the directors, the managers, the senior expert, and the specialist. So this or this all of the things might make it lagging into the decision making as well as the pivot of decision makings. And with next gen I, the startup companies they're going to be having AI, automation, cloud, and data. And those are the modern slingshot that the startups have in advantage when you compare it to the uh, bigger or giant companies. So it's more about how you launch smartly and how you come up with a product and communicate it in a way your customer is looking for. So you don't have to copy Goliaths or the giant companies move just to beat them. So you have to come up with a solution that is aware and that is different and that gives you the wings to fly and to be globally acceptable. And this is Next Gen I is your slingshot to rewrite the stories. And next, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the name of Jackson Greathouse. He went viral back in 2023, and this guy was a solo entrepreneur, and his story is quite different. And actually, when we're thinking about startup company, we think about the investors, we think about a big team, and we think about a big resource and investment behind it. But what's Jack's story is so different is he started his company with just only $100 and a Twitter tweet and a ChatGPT alongside, obviously. And he called the ChatGPT as a hustle GPT so that he can bring him an idea to come up with the green gadget products and to communicate it in a very smart way. Then what happened next is so remarkable. After giving all the requirements and the request, the ChatGPT crafted the complete business plan. It picked the idea and it built the website. It handled everything about the branding, the product research, and web design, content strategy, and it even like wrote a pitch deck for the investors. So in less than 24 hours, Jackson had this full functional website, brand identity, and marketing plans, and the interest of real investors. And in less than a week, his investment and his entrepreneurial activity was around $25,000 and backed by real investors. And he was featured in very different, like big news uh, section like Forbes and Fast Companies. So why does it matter, and what do we have in common with the Jackson's story is that this shows us something so powerful. So you don't need to have the coding skill. You don't need to be a designer, or you don't need to have a big budget to launch a successful startup. So with the free or like low cost next gen tools, you can build up and set up your startup company right away. So the takeaway is AI has leveled the playing field. So today, you don't need a team of 10 or 11 or closer to 20 people to set up your company. What you need is curiosity, the right tool, and then the courage to start. And thinking about what makes business run, um, it's all the core function that we have in the bigger companies like HR, marketing, customer support, operation, finance, IT, and cybersecurity, the analytics team, and everyone who is doing the background work. For decades, like having this and maintaining this is like having your own big budget and then having a big team as well as a big timeline. But then in the next gen era, all these things and barrier has been gone because you can design your product, run your marketing, and serve your customers, manage your finance, protect your data, and keep your security and privacy so safe with just the next gen AI tools. So you don't have to have all the resources. You don't have to have all the gadgets that they used to have back in 10 or 20 years ago. So this is what makes it so fun and what makes it so easy. As long as you have something in your mind and as long as you have the idea and the courage to initiate something, everything is possible, everything is there, and it's easier to start. Actually, I want to ask you a question. If you had just one laptop and internet connection and an idea, could you build a company that compete with the giant? The answer is actually yes, especially in the next gen era. It is completely yes. And next, I want to show you, or I want to walk you through how to build, how to grow, as well as how to compete with the giant companies using and leveraging the next gen tools. And the world we live in now doesn't reward, the biggest company. It's more about speed, and it's more about how fast you learn and how fast you can serve your customers and how fast you can meet the preference and the choice of your customers. And then that's how you can handle the market in a very perfect way and help you to compete with the giants one. And talking about to build a startup company, what kind of next gen tools am I needing? So the answer are very simple. So first, thinking about building a startup. So you might think about building a product. So I'm gonna suggest you, or I'm gonna give you an advice of don't start with product. Start with the idea. look around yourself and see the surrounding and try to have that grasp of what's the challenge in the society and how can I solve this problem. And for the tools, you have like Google Form, Type Forms, as well as like Survey Monkeys. These are the super fancy and no coding and so easy tools that you can go there and then you can put up a fancy QR code like scan me, so that like the people that pass by and then so this QR code can scan it and then respond to the survey. So it might be a request about their surrounding. It might be how can they save the surrounding environment, and how can they keep it sound when it comes to green and efficiency. So you can contribute, you can have these responses from your surrounding. And if you think about build the website or web page or web app, there is also a no coding platform. Especially you don't have to like spend a lot of money and resources in a bigger platform. So those are the minimum viable product platform that you can deploy and then see the initial stage of your business. So easily with the drag and drop, and then with the simple prompt, you can come up with your website and web app. And it can even build a web app like Airbnb and Uber web app level that can have and handle a sophisticated kind of requests and footage. So if you're thinking about maybe, okay, how can I handle when my startup company is becoming so, broaden itself out and then having a lot of customers. And for that, you don't have to worry about all your systems or your server and all your data will be stored in the cloud infrastructure, which is so less costly, and you can find it open resources and with a very few dollar in a year or with no cost. And then you can host your website over there, and you can get your real-time data on that, and you can grow your business on this free cloud service hosting infrastructure. So that means even if you started or even if your first office is your kitchen table, your business can be set up for global reach. And this is how you can build your business. And the next one is how we can grow our business. So the building part is done, and then the next is the growth. And growth in the next gen world isn't about spending more money. It's about using automations, AI, and global talent. So we have like multiple AI tools, like automation tools like Zapper, and makes it so easy for you to focus only on the strategic part of your job instead of like responding back, for a new registrant customer on your maybe Facebook ad or Instagram ad, some other social media platform. You just automate it from the initial stage of onboarding your customer up to the communication of your product and tailoring the content that needs to be customized for this customers. And you can use AI marketing tools like Jasper and HubSpot. These are the most friendly, and it is easier to use them for your AI marketing. So you can reach out to your customers, their preference, and so that you can communicate them with their preference and with their most liking approach or channels of communication, as well as the product and services that they are looking from your site. And if you wanted to have like a broader team varieties in different country, and then you don't have to worry about, because in the next gen tool, you're going to be finding a lot of like collaboration tools like Slacks, Notion, and Loom. This can give you the collaboration and real-time interaction, as well as project task tracker, so that you don't have to get lost in the middle, or you don't have that kind of, like a rich kind of communication in between your teams. So when you combine the automation with the global talent, you don't just go, you scale sustainably. That's how it works, and that's how it makes it so different. And the last one is how to compete the next how to compete the giants or the bigger companies having the next gen with your palm. And we know like competition is fierce, and next gen AI is makes it so easier to speed up and be agile and adapt a very different kind of approach so that you can compete with the already existing and bigger companies. And sometimes we might ask ourselves, okay, what should I do to compete with these companies? The first thing is, what are your customers' preference? What are your customer behaviors? This is especially in our sector, especially in my area of machine learning. We give it like a biggest areas because we deal with the customer data of billions and trillions data, and first we have to learn about our customers' behavior before we're reaching out for a campaign. We have to know what's happening in the ground. Are our data or our SMS services, is it in the very best version or package that the customer wanted to use, or are we just pushing it down to our customer for just, for the sake of pushing it? So this is how you come up with the tool, especially of course in the bigger company we use code related and a very kind of advanced technology to do a real time analysis and machine learning outputs. But what next gen AI makes it so easy is that like we have platforms like free or like a very minimum cost platform like Google Analytics. You can just integrate it with your platform, and then it can assess your customer behavior, and then it can tell you the real-time customer interaction and the real-time behavior and character of behind your customers, and it will give you the insight who are your customer and how can I or how can you approach them, and how can you help your customer to be in your boundaries and to just make them attached to your products. And there are a lot of tools like that you can tailor your products and services based on the data that you getting from your customer interaction. It might be on your website or it might be on your application, mobile application, because these are the platform that you can get an infinite amount of data of your customers' behavior. And to do all of this stuff, you don't have to go for computer science or software engineering, or you don't have to have a degree or a master's on that area, because next gen AI makes it so simple. Let me tell you a true story. Actually, most of the people think that I came from the background of computer science or software engineering or so. That's not true. So I came from economics and statistics background, and almost 4 years back, I joined Safaricom as a graduate management trainee. So what I wanted to highlight in here is that even though your background is completely different from AI related stuff, you can do it. And then I had to onboard on this program, and I had to start it from scratch and teaching myself how to do programming while doing the real job. And what I found so important and so life-changing is that we have platform like Udacity, Coursera, where you can learn yourself anything and everything. Any problem that you are struggling to solve in a real life, even you can go to the YouTube videos and then you find a lot of solutions. So what I wanted to say and emphasize on this is that you don't have to have that background of engineering and computer science. As long as you have the curiosity, you have the platform, you have the next gen AI tool, user-friendly tool, no coding tool that help you boost what you have and come up with the solution that makes everyone's wow. So this is what I wanted to say about building goals and competing with giant companies. And talking about the last slide, it's more about the speed and the competition fears in between different companies. I know a lot of us knows that like a speed boat and a bigger cruise or like a ship. So you can't compare them in terms of speed, because in terms of speed, the speeding boat is so quick, it's so fast, and then it can navigate a lot of places and a lot of ocean areas within a very limited or a specified amount of time, while the biggest ships are struggling to just turn their wheels. So my saying is, with next gen AI, like everything is so easy. So you have the speedboat ability and capability to just boost yourself, boost your company. So you don't need like millions or massive teams. You just only need curiosity and smart plan and courage to begin and build your company, your startup company just right now. So don't wait for resource, don't wait for tomorrow, don't wait for any convenience way of starting your business. The beauty about next gen AI is you can start small, start smart, and then you can start now. So this is how we can leverage gen AI and how we can make things so faster and make it in our own advantage. And I want to say, let's start together and let's start now and let's support each other, because sometimes the problems comes in I don't know, if you notice many men's or like the main category, they support each other. Like if one friend has his own business, they support each other, they um, be mentor for one another to just pull up their friends in their friends group. So we have to have that bond of women in technology, women in startup, women in business, women in trading, and women in every sector, so that we can lift ourselves and then we can um, stand where we wanted to see ourselves and then go together. Because in the upper part, everything is so convenient and so big to accommodate all of us together. And yeah, these are what I wanted to emphasize and want to say. And these are my LinkedIn's and my Instagram. Let's connect there and let's talk. Let's be like each other mentor, and let's share our experience, our ideas, and let's find and let's figure it out a point to collaborate and to boost our businesses, our knowledge, our experience, or our skills, because that's how we can grow together. And thank you. If you have any question, maybe you can facilitate for that.
Okay. Thank you, Masal. It was such an inspirational and insightful session, to be honest. So thank you. Um, uh, yeah, so we have a couple of questions that was gathered from the audience beforehand. So I'll try to go over those questions, and if I missed some, I think we will have a Q&A session at the end of the session. So the questions are for both Mastewal and Rishma. So I'll try to go over the machine learning questions. So yeah. So the first one is, what is the biggest challenge in making NLP models truly understandable, truly understand context, and how far are we from overcoming them?
Actually, to answer that question, I wanted to give the example from the telecommunication company. So back couple of months, me and my team was trying to build this chatbot for a telecommunication company, because we have a lot of call congestion in the call center. So we wanted to at least, support the call center in terms of enhancing customer support and giving a quick assist for the customer. So when it comes to natural language processing, there are I saw two biggest challenges. The first one is context across conversation challenge. So the problem about NLP is that, for example, if someone called today complaining about a network issue, and then it was already registered as a issue number one, and then that customer calls again to follow up on that problem, so the model wouldn't detect it. It is like a follow-up question, so it doesn't have the human memory to connect that consistency, conversation consistency, and make a single solution. Instead, it's treated as a different kind of, two queries, and we have a lot of difficulties on that. And the second one is domain-specific language. We have some telecommunication jargon words, and it was quite difficult for the model to learn it and to use it. And the other one is, some people have this way of mixing language. For example, Amharic is widely spoken, or it's a federal language in Ethiopia. And if someone was speaking Amharic, and if they had to, put 2-3 English word in between, then the model would just mess up everything, because it doesn't have that capability of, tracing back different languages in the same context. So I think those two were the most challenging ones. And um, achieving Q1 level contextual understanding is still far off, in my opinion. But of course, it's not unreachable or impossible, because when you compare what we had like 5 years back and what we have right now is completely different when it comes to natural language processing. Because even when you use Google Translation back in 6 years and today, it's completely different. It was more advanced, and it just learned from its mistakes. It's like a trial error thing. So the more it just get errors, and then the more it builds itself. And I believe in the next future years, we can see more advanced, NLP models. Um, and yeah, these are the challenge, and this is my hope.
Okay, thank you. Next question would be, when you started your ML journey, what was the first step you took? What resources or courses helped you the most? And how can beginners today accelerate their learning using AI itself without being completely driven by it?
Actually, like I mentioned earlier, I came from economics and statistics background, which is completely different from what I currently do. And I started as a graduate management trainee. It is a program, actually. Many multinational companies has that program, so you have to rotate across different functions, and you get to learn different like tasks and projects, and from different departments, and then you get to choose which department to study. And that's how I introduced myself to the technology department, which is specifically the big data department and machine learning in more specified areas. And to start us, actually, what tools that I used was Udacity, and Coursera was actually, we've been provided by the company, such platform. So it's free for us to learn. And um, it's like hands-on projects platforms. What I love about this platform is that you can work on the real world problem. You just dirty yourself with the real-time data and real-world data, and then you can learn yourself by doing the real job. And the fact that I was also doing um, the real job while learning about everything also helped me the most. And so the first thing is your mentality, and after that, it comes with the tools that you need to familiar yourself. And there are like multiple tools that you can learn and you can practice you hands on with like a very practical real world problem. And that's how I came into this journey, and this is how I recommend. These are the platform, and these are the things that I wanted to recommend for you.
Okay, thank you. One more question. So, how can startups effectively leverage AI and automation tools for growth while also spotting and mitigating risks such as fake AI generated messages or videos and stuff like that?
Actually, when it comes to AI, of course, there are a lot of opportunities that AI bring us and that we're currently working on. And it just ease everything and it makes our life so simple. And in the meantime, there is also risk that comes with. And nowadays, there are a lot of scammers that use, AI content, AI videos, as well as AI voice detector as well as voice mimic tools so that they can do scam activities. And the first thing is dual strategy. So especially if you started as a company or as a startup company, we have to have that detection tools to flag out a synthetic content and content that looks so fishy and so malicious and generated by AI. And the other or the second thing is educating the users. So I know most of our clients and our customers might not think some videos, some scam videos are not you know um, produced by the company itself. So we have to teach our employees or teach our client and customer and educate them that there also exist in such a area or in such a section that the AI can also, uh, you know, um, take their data and imitate their personality as well as, take advantage of the real customer and clients. And I think, yeah, these are the two strategies that I would recommend, especially for a startup company, to have as a mitigation plan.
Okay. Um, Thank you, Masol. It was such an inspirational session, to be honest. My next question would be for our Sri Lanka guest, Rishma Rizvi. If I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. To go on with the question, how can businesses practically apply AI for effective marketing, both in automation and in running successful local campaigns?
Thank you for that question. And yes, you did pronounce my name correctly.
Yeah.
So, in terms of AI for local brands and how local brands can basically use, again, like I mentioned previously, the whole concept of AI is not to necessarily like replace us humans and the work that we have to offer, right? It's more so about using that efficiently to save your time, for it to be cost effective for you, and for it to be advantageous for your brand's growth without having to break your bank, or without having to invest a huge amount of time wondering whether it will go wrong or whether it will go right. So in terms of automation and basically how you can practically apply this into your brand in small ways, at least, in what I would say is to start using, for example, if you are a brand that, for example, say if you're a gifting company of any sort, right? You can start integrating AI into your chat, like chatbots, or so when your customers reach out to you, be it through Instagram, Facebook, or WhatsApp, you have your AI tools integrated in it to respond to your consumer in a way that answers their questions appropriately. And see, the thing is, sometimes there are times where us as individuals, even, or at least this has happened to me a couple of times, where I will have a very rough day and I'll be super tired, but I have to make sure I get back to my customers and their inquiries. And sometimes because of how tired or how, like, packed I am with my schedule, I don't tend to understand what they're trying to tell me, or what they're trying to ask from me, and I end up giving the wrong information. And I realize it a little later. But thing is, with AI, when you have it integrated into your systems, you don't have to worry about those mistakes that you would make on your end, because you've trained your chatbot, you've trained your tools to respond to your custom inquiries in a particular way, right? And this is, I think, and this is something that I have started using into my page as well, like from Instagram. So if somebody asks for custom orders, my AI chatbot, or I've done it in a way where the AI replies to it in a way that is appropriate for that. So if it's a custom order, they either say, okay, custom orders start from this specific price. If you want to place a custom order, give me your, give me the details of what do you want to, like, is it, what sort of soap do you want it to be, or what color? Give me your details. So when I get back to my consumer or my customer, I already have a list of information in one go, and I don't have to worry about mixing up any information, or missing any specific details, because my AI has already done the work. And that is one way that you can integrate it into your systems. And another thing I would suggest is, something, this is something a lot of bigger brands do, and I think locally also I've seen a couple of brands start integrating it, which is using email marketing, where you use AI, where you use AI to write like newsletters, and you schedule them. For example, if it's like a skincare brand, right? You have your customer ordering a product, and your AI generates a sort of pamphlet or leaflet that goes to your customer after they order the product, giving them like a step by step description of what their order was, and like the product, what it is, what it's going to help for, how they should use it. Because something that I have noticed is, even after my customer places an order through my website, and even after they've read the information on the website, they sometimes tend to forget or don't necessarily pay attention to the description while ordering the product. And they constantly keep asking me about the ingredients and what's it helpful for. And sometimes when I can't get back to them in the time span they are looking for, they get disappointed. So what I've also started kind of integrating is AI generated newsletters, where I have prompted my AI in a way where automatically there will be an email going to my customer about how they should use my product, or the methods, or the ingredients, and like the specifics that a customer who's using a skincare product would look into. That way it saves confusion, time for it saves time on me having to explain a lot of complicated things to them. And it's easy for them because they get it, they read it, and if there's any confusion, they'll come back to me. So those are a couple of ways you can sort of automate it into your system. And something, for example, this is something that I have done, where when I'm launching a particular soap or new product specifically, what I do is I get my AI to generate a couple of captions, and what I then do is I tweak that caption according to my sort of target market. Because as much as AI can be helpful, there are obviously areas that you have to tweak, so it's a little bit more organic, it's a little bit literal, right? And what I do is, something that I tested is, I tested these captions with two particular ads, right? And one caption worked severely better than the other. From that, I was able to sort of understand the keywords, and the like how our Ethiopian speak. I'm not going to pronounce your name because I'm scared I will butcher it. But she mentioned how there are specific jargons. Just like that, once you sort of start integrating, you will understand there are specific keywords that you have to start using, so that your content is targeted towards those specific groups. And this is, you can practice this by locally, when you're locally promoting your product, like how I did it with my ads. You kind of understand, okay, which local group is your product going to more, and you kind of figure out the sort of words that you're supposed to use and not use. And I think that again comes from a little bit of practice, but overall that is a little bit of how you can sort of integrate. And again, you can use like Facebook marketing to promote your posts for like $1 or $2 that reaches a customer base of like 100 to 200. It depends. So I think AI has been developed in a way that you can customize it for your needs. You don't have to be tight on who it's supposed to go to, how it's supposed to work. You work around with it, you make it your friend. I think you'll be able to easily adapt to the changes and allow it to work for you rather than you working for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you. The next question is, with AI transforming industries, what marketing and business skills are most in demand today, especially for women and new entrepreneurs entering the space?
So something that I have kind of understood is in terms of for women and women and like emerging entrepreneurs is something that in at least in the Sri Lankan context, what I've noticed is the reason majority of us can't really get the hang of AI or how to use these tools that are readily available for us is due to the poor AI like literacy, in if that makes sense. Like I feel like most of us aren't taking that because we have AI, we are not really taking that time to actually educate ourselves on how to use it to our advantage. And I think that is one of the biggest disadvantages because you have so many videos that go around like on TikTok and all of that, where you can actually take use of those videos to understand how you're going to use AI to kind of understand your algorithm and so on, right? But so something that I have realized is not most of us don't really have that AI literacy. And when it comes to even women, to get into the field, they have to, I feel like if they are able to kind of get into that understanding of how to use AI, they can definitely make their way into starting their brand. Because this is something I've told a lot of individuals who are specifically like young moms, for example, who I've come across, who are trying to start a brand of their own, but they can't really like leverage. They don't have much investors. They're doing it by themselves, but they don't really know how to go about it. I'm like, use your chat gpt, use mid journey. You have so many other AI tools, but educate yourself on how to use this. It's not just you going and putting a prompt and letting it generate content for you or details for you. I feel like because we have AI so readily available, what we do is we don't take that time to really sit and think about, okay, what do I want out of this? We just go type in the prompt we want, it generates whatever, and that's it. We don't even take a second to read that caption that we generated and see, okay, does this caption align with my vision? Because I have seen a lot of brands that copy paste AI captions, and I'm not saying that is wrong. That is completely okay, but kind of take the time to figure out how you want your tools to work to your advantage. And I feel like because people are not taking their time to do that, and because they're trying to find the easy way out of this, it doesn't. They're not having the success they want from AI, like the way it should actually be. And I think that's the biggest downside. So even for women, in my opinion, what I would really say is to generate sort of revenue, and to start off with in somewhere for like emerging entrepreneurs, even use your AI, educate yourself about it. I think that is really essential, especially with how quick the technological space is developing in the current day and age.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, Last question would be, what strategies should startups focus on to scale their products or service, and whom should they approach for funding to make smart AI-driven projects in a reality?
Okay, so I'll first start with who they should, start working with for AI-driven projects. And I'm answering this in regards to the Sri Lankan context and the sort of Sri Lankan market, because I'm not quite sure how it is in Ethiopia and the sort of funding, the funding institutions available for specific brands. I tried to do my research on it, but I'm not 100% sure if the information I received is accurate, and I didn't have a way to really cross check it. However, in Sri Lanka, for any Sri Lankan startup or brand that is trying to start, I would say if you want to approach investors and you want funding pathways, there are a lot of there are a lot of incubators that are happening here, and a lot of bootstrap sessions where, for example, there's something that I took part in, which is called Slingshot, that was done by an organization called Hatch, Hatch is one of the up and running companies and institutions to actually help businesses in Sri Lanka to grow within the community, within like locally and also internationally. So in Sri Lanka, if there is anyone who's starting a business, they can definitely reach out to Hatch, because they have some wonderful opportunities. I took part in their Slingshot program, which was like a series of like a 6 week worth of workshops to train and help develop our brands, where we got to meet with different investors and we got to meet with different individuals from different industries that are focused to our brands. And then we had obviously our pitching competition where we got a specific funding. So the winner obviously gets a funding. And but then again, the connections you sort of make from there on will definitely lead to the growth of your brand. And another sort of funding option I would say is in Sri Lanka is reach out to ICTA. So a lot of, and another thing is if you want funding, you have to start, taking part for like grants and different programs where they actually do fund for startups, fresh startups, and there are some that actually don't expect you to do anything as much. They just they don't. There are investors who don't fully merge with your brand, but will fund your startup and help you leverage along the way. So, for example, Hatch ICTA in Sri Lanka. When I did my research for Ethiopia, I did there was this institution I think called Blue Moon. I'm not sure if that is an actual this thing. What I From what I read was then incubator, and they have incubators and they do seed funding for startups and for young entrepreneurs so that they could scale. So, in other words, I think in terms of focusing on who you want to approach for funding and the sort of funding you want to get, it really depends on where you're trying to take your brand, because there are different types of fundings. You have angel investors who will be interested in your brand. You can do crowdfunding, and there's so much of options. But you have to kind of do your research on what exactly you want, how invested you want your investors to be in your brand as well, and whether you just want a temporary funding or like a part-time leverage for your brand, or you want this to be something that you get funded like constantly over the years. So it really depends on your sort of vision for the brand and how much you want or how much funding you want to grow your brand. But in Sri Lanka, definitely I would encourage in those of you who are planning on starting up or want additional help to grow their brand to reach out to the institutions like Hatch and ICTA.
Okay. Thank you for answering my questions. Also, for your session on lean marketing with artificial intelligence, it was really insightful. So, uh, Zihon Bekele, if you have anything to say, I'll leave the stage for you. Or
Okay, thank you so much. It was such an insightful session. It was a wonderful session. Thank you all for joining us. So for our guests, we'll kindly let you go now, and for the rest of the attendees, we gonna attach the attendance form, and you can fill out the attendance form And I'm also gonna attach the link tree so you could follow us on all social media. And that's it.
Until they fill out the attendance form.
And
Um, if anyone have a question, you could raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask away. Or either you could put it in the chat and we'll try to answer it.
I think there is a comment from Saida. Not a question, but a comment.
It's a comment, yeah. Thank you so much for this insightful session. I completely agree. AI is truly shaping the future, and embracing it now is essential. Otherwise, we risk being left behind. I really appreciate the effort of Women Techmakers team for empowering us with such knowledge and opportunity. Okay, can anybody tell me, please, when the Women Techmakers Ambassador registration will be launching? I think there anyone to answer this question? I think there is a way there. You could see that on their website, the Women Techmakers website. Let me put it down in the chat. So it currently says that the application for the ambassador program are now closed and will reopen next year. So I think you could keep up with the website to see when it is open. For Saida, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you so much for the useful session. If no one has a question, thank you, our guests, Mastewal and Rishma. It was such an insightful and incredible session. Let's not hold you for too long, so I think we can wrap up here.
Thank you so much for having me.
thank you,
It's our
everyone.
pleasure.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. How to become an ambassador. So you can check out the site, the Women Takemakers Ambassador site. Let me pin it. And the application is closed for now, but you could check when it's open. It will reopen next year, it says. Until then, please fill out the form, so we'll try to send you the session's resources through email. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media. The link tree is attached in the chat. I think that would be all. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you had an incredible session and you learned a lot, as I know I did. Yeah, so have a good night. Thank you.